Welcome to the Black Stage, presented by 255. 255 is a collaborative of 5 individuals who came together to promote Blackness in all its facets. We are Layla Isaac, Kim Joseph, Rudy Joseph, Sean Robinson, and me, Kamara Watkins. We created this event to showcase Black talent during Black History Month. We purposefully have chosen creatives, entrepreneurs, leaders, and healers so that we can talk about the uniqueness of the Black experience in these different fields, and so that we can look at some of the commonalities that we experience as a Black community. You are going to truly enjoy learning more about each of these individuals, hearing about their talent, being able to see some of their work and some of the things that they contribute to the world. So we ask you to sit back, relax, enjoy the Black Stage, presented by 255.
Dr. Lucie E. Mitchell is a physician, creator, and photographer who has turned her love for photography and the human spine into a collection of digital abstract artwork. As a spine specialist, she has designed thousands of photos from her own lumbar and cervical spine. Her innovative designs can currently be seen in hospitals and physician offices throughout the north and southeastern coast. Her artwork is now available for you to enjoy. Now, here's my conversation with artist and physician, Dr. Mitchell. Dr. Lucie E. Mitchell, thank you for joining us and welcome to the Black Stage. It's great to have you with us. I just want to get started by just actually asking, where are you from and what do you bring into the Black Stage? What kind of art are you bringing to the Black Stage today?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Canada, so I'm from Montreal. And then from there, did a lot of moving around because, we hated the cold. Well, I know I do. And so ended up in the South. And so currently I live in Alabama, but I work in Rome, Georgia in private practice. I'm also an artist, do a lot of abstract artwork, and also do a lot of acrylic paintings. So I'm a wife, I'm a mom, a physician, an artist, the whole nine.
Yes, that's awesome. That's so cool to do. And for those viewers watching, I'm also a physician, and I'm so intrigued by the fact that Dr. Mitchell, a physician, has time to also do this artwork and do it well, and of course be a mom and a wife and everything like that. But that's incredible. We actually share the same specialty of physical medicine and rehabilitation, or physiatry, which is kind of cool, and how we met at a conference. So I'm so cool. I'm so glad to hear about this cool endeavor that you do and just to learn more about you. So I did want to ask you about some of the art that you have. So I'm just going to bring up some of the pieces that really caught my eye and caught our eye as a group. And just so you can talk about them a little bit, maybe some inspiration behind it or what kind of led you to do these particular pieces. So I'm going to bring this up now. Tell me a little bit about this one.
Yeah, so this one, so for a lot of people who don't know, a lot of my abstract artwork comes from spine images. So like 95% of them are my spine. The other 5% are spines from, commission pieces. So for example, this one here was originally a cervical spine x-ray, so your neck x-ray. And when I did this piece, I was thinking of when you have neck pain, you end up having shoulder pain, you have headaches, it puts you into like this days and time confusion, double vision. And so it's like you're falling into like this whirlwind of like this, crazy abyss. And it's like a continued cycle. And so in this piece, what it brings out is just, it kind of looks like a maze, but then you're falling into this hole, this, whirlwind of things, and you don't exactly know how it all fits in. And so that was the inspiration behind that particular piece.
Awesome. That's so cool. That's very descriptive, and I can see that just from kind of looking at x-rays and spines before myself. I can see how that kind of connects there. That's really cool. This one can see more of the spine, but just the beautiful colors. And just tell us a little bit about this one.
Yeah, so in this piece, this is actually my lumbar spine in this one here. And the reason why I wanted to portray, this particular view of my lumbar spine is to show that, it's okay when your x-ray report says you have degenerative disc disease. Because, I explained to people, I'm like, it's not an actual disease where, oh my gosh, you're going to die from this, because people always think that when they hear that word, and my L5S1 as portrayed, that opening where the nerves would come out, my opening is like pretty much shot. And so I tell people, yes, I deal with people with their low back pains every day, with pain every day. Do I have pain? Yeah, my leg gets numb sometimes, and when I get it, I'm like, oh, give me a second, because, I got to wake it up a little bit. So that does happen to me also. But I wanted to show them that, pain doesn't have to be the focal point. You can always have something good come from that pain. And this is just a way to portray that, yes, it doesn't look like a great spine, because it's not, but with all the colors and, the texture, it brings in a different kind of beauty and a different perspective to pain.
It does. And that's I love the mix of colors, and that's a neat perspective to have, and actually something to share with your patients for sure. That's cool. Oh, this one, I say this about probably all of them that I say are my favorite, but this one really struck me. The colors just really popped out at me, and it, looks so beautiful. And I just was like, there's just so much here, and I love it. So tell us a little bit about this one too.
Yeah, so this also is my lumbar spine. However, it's looking through the disc of my lumbar spine. So this is my L5S1 disc. So we previously saw it in a different picture, but then just when you look at it on an MRI, it's not too hot. It doesn't look great at all. And so I was trying to take a piece of that and bring in some beauty to it. So that way, that's not my focal point every time. And so I was able to, take a view of the disc, because on MRI, there's an axial view, sagittal views. And so just to kind of take that and just remove it from everything else and just make it its own thing and make it a statement piece. So that way it's like, yes, this is the worst disc I have as of now, but I'm going to make it into something more, something beautiful. So that way, when I see it, I'm like, yes, it's messed up. I have some spondylosis, the whole nine, some listhesis, but this piece here says otherwise.
Yes, it does say otherwise. It's a beautiful disc. I think so. That's awesome. So cool. I'll save for repeating of another one of my fave, but here we go. So what is this? Tell me. I see a girl here, but tell me more.
Yeah, so the inspiration behind this piece happened when, we were still going through, but the whole Black Lives Matter movement. And during that time, a lot of young people, especially, young Black girls, Black boys, that used to look at officers as this thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to be a police officer when I grow up, or a firefighter, the whole nine. When they started seeing what all was happening, on media, it discouraged a lot of them. Not even some of the young people, even some of the adults wanted to go into that field were getting discouraged because they had a sense of, if I go into this field, am I going to be the next victim, even though I'm in blue? My husband's also law enforcement too. And so this piece came behind that as an inspiration, as far as you can still have these big dreams as a little person. Don't let, what's going on out there deter you from that, because you could be the change, in that, in that field. So this is actually, my daughter, she's a little girl, kind of silhouette there, but she's wearing a police hat, the shirt. She has like a little police belt on, just to show that it's okay to still have those dreams, because you can change this world, because the sky is not the limit, because, it's limitless. And so I want little people to know, little girls, little boys to know that it's okay to have these big dreams and dream bigger the older you get, because you can be the one to change this entire world.
Yes. Oh, that's awesome. I love the silhouette. And until you said that, I mean, I was just struck by how just fascinating, and the colors and the mix. I can see that. Okay, I can see the girl here, but then you pointing out about the uniform and the police officer and just all that meaning behind it, it's striking that much more. So awesome. Thank you for sharing that. That was great. This one, I love these colors. And this one I saw on your Facebook page, and I was just, it just was like, I love these colors. So then I was like, I don't know what else, but I love these colors, but I would love to hear more about this one.
Yeah, so in this piece, so usually when I'm painting with acrylic paintings, it depends on how I feel, my mood. I was an English major, creative writing minor, so I love to write, but then there's times when I don't want to write. But acrylic painting is a form of me writing, so I can express myself. So in this piece here, I really wasn't feeling it that day. I didn't, I just wanted to do something, didn't matter what. The colors didn't make sense. I just wanted to put something on canvas instead of paper.
Mhm.
And when I created this piece at first, I did not like it. I was like, you know what, it is what it is. I'm just gonna just leave it there. I took a picture of it and I posted it on Facebook. And one of my friends said, "Hey, who's that person in your painting?" And I'm like, "What person?"
Uh-huh.
Then she pointed out the face to me. So I think here, like in the upper left, there's like an eye and eyebrow. Yep, right there, like a person screaming.
Yeah.
So when she pointed that out, I literally ran downstairs to look at my painting, like, who is this person in the painting? So it kind of scared me for a little bit. And then one of my other friends who's a neurologist said, "Hey, who's the brainless person in your painting?" And I'm like, "Brainless person?" So then he points out like there's like, lips and like an open
This?
brain almost. And I'm like, oh my gosh, y'all just seeing people in these
Wow.
paintings that would scare me. I'm like, so it took me a while to just even embrace this painting. But then the more I look at it every day, I see something different, something new, some expressions because I wasn't feeling it. So to me, I'm like, wow, well, that person screaming in the top left could be me just like venting,
Uh-huh.
and the brainless person is me just over it. I don't know what to think. I really don't have any thoughts. And it's just kind of just split open basically. And so
Uh-huh.
I feel like they gave it so much meaning that I did not see at first. And it's like somebody interpreting poetry, but on a canvas.
Yeah. That's incredible. And this, I cannot unsee this now. I just see this, and even here, like that's so amazing. And then just the creativity, even of your friends, but then even just how just you were just going off of feeling, and this kind of went with some of the feelings at that time. So awesome. Awesome. Thank you. This one is my absolute favorite. I loved all of them, but oh my gosh, this is very striking. So please share about this one.
Yeah, so we're both physicians, and when COVID first happened, so when the pandemic first hit, and then we were literally seeing people drop like flies. I mean, the young, the healthy, the elderly. I mean, it didn't, COVID has no, it doesn't discriminate, you know. It was across the board, people were getting wiped out. I mean, it literally felt like the planet was going to get wiped out by this. And so I was a fellow at the time when it first happened. And I remember, at that point in time, it was all hands on deck. And it didn't matter what your specialty was, it was all hands on deck because it was affecting everybody, you know? And so I remember one time leaving the hospital. I don't even know what time it was because it was late. I was tired. I was angry. I was burnt out. I was just over it. And I sat in my car and I remember looking in my rearview mirror and I still have a mask on my face. My eyes were bloodshot red. I was crying. I was just, you're just mad because you don't know if you're going to be next. Couldn't go into my family because, I didn't want to, bring anything to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember just being frustrated. And then so with that feeling, I put that, on paper basically,
Yeah.
and just drew me and what I felt. At the time, the difference is I didn't make my eyes bloodshot red because it probably matched my hair at that point,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but it's
Wow.
like, I remember my hair covering my face and me just seeing half of my face and just sitting there just thinking like, is this how we're really gonna go out? Is this how we're really gonna die?
Wow. Yeah.
Because I would see people, they get diagnosed day one at the hospital, day three, they're in the morgue.
Mm-hmm.
It was fast, and I was like, is this really how this world is going to end? And so that's where this piece came from. So
Wow.
the very beginning of that pandemic is just how I felt.
Yes. Yes. Man, I mean, that captures so much for the past several years, and just with, I'm going to stop share for the moment, but just with thinking about the emotions behind that, and then again the striking colors, but the detail of that's awesome. And then this makes me wonder, like, so with the spine pieces, and then even that one, are these where are these? Like, are these just things that you just sell to the general public? Is this something that's in other like offices, or where do you do with most of your pieces?
Yeah, so all over. So, some of them are sold on my website. You can also go into certain different hospitals and clinics across the country, and you'll see them there as well too. I know where I work, I have them in my exam room, so my patients can just have something to look at outside of the bare walls. Because usually in a clinic, you walk in and all the walls are like beige or something.
Yeah,
And you go to the exam room, it looks so cold and sterile, just like, oh, okay, I'm just waiting for the doctor, just looking at all these bare walls. And so in my clinic space, in my exam rooms, they walk in and they have something to look at. And every time they see something different, it's intriguing. So it kind of helps, them kind of sit in their thoughts, basically, as the time goes on. I also have them in the rehab hospital. Several rehab hospitals also have my paintings as well too. And so it's just nice to see something different outside of like the dull paintings you see in hospitals.
Yeah, yes,
So those paintings are boring.
Yes, very, very much. And not these beautiful colors, and not another way to even frame, because even if they knew the meaning behind them, even without knowing the meaning behind them. But no, that's awesome to mesh that together. And I neglected to ask this, but now I'm curious. But again, in being in the field of medicine, I feel sometimes my science brain, there's no sort of creative brain on the other side, like that's one or the other, and it's always has been science. So how did you actually get started with your interest in art, and getting to where you are now with that, especially with trying to make time just during busy being a physician and mom and everything?
Yeah, so originally I remember I was in middle school, 7th grade, and we had art at the time, and my teacher, Miss Pascal, I didn't like her. We didn't get along. But, it was the only class that I felt like I can go in and, be creative and just create something, and she always had like this task. She always wanted us to create whatever she wanted us to create. And I didn't like that, And so I remember I just used to just do my own thing, but she would always say, that's not the assignment. I'm like, yeah, I don't care,
Yeah.
I just want to sit here, give me my color pencils, whatever, just let me be,
Uh-huh.
And I remember graduating from middle school, so 8th grade graduation, and I got the art award, which I did not expect, and you win some money too. I was like, what, I got some money? Yeah. But I didn't, even though we didn't get along in that sense, but she saw something, which for me, I was just, just putting things on paper, just being creative. But she was the one who, after I won that, it kind of gave me a little push as far as, I think I can do this. And so even going into high school, my high school had different pathways. It had like a healthcare pathway, media technology pathway, and like earth sciences, whatever. And so, even though I kind of had a hint of maybe want to be a physician, but at the same time, I always, thought maybe I'll be like an archaeologist in Egypt. That was my, my first plan, And but then I chose the media technology pathway when I went to high school, because I got to do like graphic arts, got to do photography, I got to do filmmaking and all that stuff. And so I got to explore that passion even more, like on a bigger scale, and really, really, really enjoyed that. And so that kind of continued to give me that push that I needed to tap more into that creative side.
Yeah, nice. And then how did you, like, was it not until like when in your physician, journey, did you think about kind of connecting like your art and your own spine stuff, like with the art that you already were kind of doing?
Yeah, I think it probably would be in a residency, because, we did the same residency as far as physical medicine rehabilitation. And I love the spine, as you can tell. And I, love photography, love art. And so I remember trying to find what my niche would be, as far as like, hey, I like photography. I like taking pictures of people sometimes, but I like, abstract stuff. Then I remember just looking at tons of x-rays and MRIs, you just learning how to read those. And I was like, I love this. I was like, wait a minute, let me see what my spine would look like if I turn it into something different. And then as soon as I did that, it was it. I was like, this is it. I'm like, this is what I do.
Yep, that's a very unique niche and so helpful in so many ways. That's so cool. That's awesome. So I want to ask a few more questions. Just again, we're on the Black stage of Black History Month and all that. We're Black history all the time, all year. But just while we have you here and just kind of highlighting your wonderful talents and the success and everything. I want to ask you first, what is Blackness to you?
Everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because on a color spectrum, you put all them together, you get us, you get Black. Black is beauty, it's powerful. You can't go wrong with Black. You look good in Black, right? When it comes to looking at all the wonderful inventions, around, from the beginning of time, Black, right? When you're looking at, all of these, for example, like, you have your Simone Biles, you have, Olympic winners, you have your athletes, you have, your scientists, you have your actors and actresses, your chefs, the whole nine, Black.
Yes.
And now what I see is a lot of people want to imitate, Blackness, because it's beauty. When you look at what this country was built on, it was us, and when it comes to Blackness, I think it's very powerful because, we hold so much power that it tends to scare people. We hold so much excellence and intelligence and just finesse, when it comes to Blackness. And so when I think about that, I just think we're literally everything.
Yeah.
So that's what it means to me.
Yes, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I love getting people's perspectives on that, and we do as a group too. And that's very well said. Very well said. So in your industry as an artist, I know you have, of course, an industry, I guess, in medicine and as physician. What has your experience been as a Black person in this industry of art?
Yeah, so I'll compare it to being a physician. So when I walk into a patient's room, it's always a question as far as, who I am. I'm never the physician. I'm always anything but the physician. I get it all, literally. I could be the housekeeper. I could be the person working in the cafeteria. Even though I have my white coat on, my badge says physician. Nope. But as an artist, they see the work, and I'm known as that in that industry. A lot of times they see your art before they see you. And there's sometimes they don't even see the artist behind the art. They just see the pieces, which speaks for themselves, And so when I'm in that world, that's the first thing they see. When I'm in the physician world, that is 9 out of 10 times, that is not the first thing seen. And so it's so different.
Yeah. I like that. I don't like that there's a contrast, but I know that there's a contrast that's very real. And just being able to just put forward, like, here's what it is, here's what the work is, and being seen in just in that, like, that's definitely a stark contrast. But that's neat that you share that. I noticed that in that way, not that it would be hard to notice, but again, a perspective to take away from that, and just in completely different environments for there. That's cool. How would you feel that, or how do you feel that the support has been? And kind of, I think you alluded to it a little bit, in the sense that people will just see your art in that way. But how do you feel that you've been supported as a Black person by other Black people in your industry, or just people in general in your industry? And then second part of, how do you feel that you're able to support others? So receiving the support, and then you're being able to support others in this space, in this industry.
Yeah, and so in terms of receiving the support, definitely, I connected with a lot of people via social media, especially, during the pandemic times. Everybody's on social media, because you couldn't get out the house. And so being able to connect via Facebook, Instagram. I mean, if you asked me like 5 years ago if I would have known like a big population in Australia or New Zealand, people that, supporting, the arts, I would say, no, I would never have thought that. But there's people on social media in the, in the art world that are very supportive. I mean, if you have questions, it doesn't matter what time of day, night, they are there to help, they're there to ask, because, you could tell they're very passionate about what they do and they want to see others succeed.
Mhm.
Now, is that going to be everybody? No, but it's definitely a very good amount, of support there. And the way I do the same thing, as far as there are people who I don't even know from Adam, who will send me a message on Facebook, Instagram, and said, "Hey, I love what you do. What are you using? How do you do this?" And I'm happy to provide the same assistance, because, it's not all about keeping it to yourself and say, "Oh, it's mine." No, art is literally everywhere. It's the most versatile language, because you don't have to know how to speak to like art. You don't have to be able to see to feel art, you know, and it's universal.
Yeah.
You can go into a gallery and look at one painting and, come out with 1,000 different interpretations of the one painting, because it can mean whatever to somebody else, you know, it- emotions, texture, all those things. Even babies, you could tell when they like or don't like something, but they don't know how to speak yet. And so
Yeah.
it's the same thing when it comes to art. And so being able to provide, anything that I can, to others to help out in their art journey or whatever it may be, I'm glad to do that. And people are very willing to also share experiences and help when it's needed.
Yeah. That's good to hear, refreshing to hear, encouraging to hear in that way. So, and I like what you said about being able to share. It's not something just to keep to yourself, because you're sharing with the world already your art. And then if there's, if more people can be inspired by that, then hey, that's all the better. What do you think is, or just what is your inspiration to continue to do artwork? Like, where do you get inspired from, on a regular basis, or, keep with fresh ideas? Where does that all come from?
Comes from, my day-to-day interactions with people at work, patients, family, friends, because, like I said, I was an English major, creative writing minor. So, it's like somebody who likes to journal every day. It's just like, what, you get your thoughts from anything. You might see, the sun is shining, and like, you know what, let me write something down real quick. It's like a little bit of a note or one word. You're putting something down on paper. Or journalist is always, digging for stories or what have you. And so when it comes to my inspiration, it's my form of journaling just on canvas. And so it could be, hey, I feel angry today. So you might see dark colors and just like, whoa, what was going on here? It's like I'm on like cloud nine and like all these happy, bright colors. It's like, hey, so sometimes you could definitely tell my mood based on a painting. And, unless if it's a commission piece, then, it is what it is. But if I'm just putting, brush to canvas or whatever, it's, it just depends on how I feel that day, but that's just my form of expressing, my emotions.
It's another great way to express them in that way.
Yeah, it's like my journaling, but on canvas.
On canvas. Nice way to put that. What, so we're just shifting gears just a little bit. If you could meet anybody, or we'll say one person, maybe two if it has to be, anyone alive or dead, who would it be? And then of course, why?
I have two.
Okay, two is allowed.
I have two. I have Cicely, Tyson, and Shadowy, Boseman.
Okay.
And because they, when they were, alive, and just kind of looking at their, their life story, Cicely Tyson, for example, she's always been humble. She's always put God first, no matter what she has done in life. She always knew where her gift came from. She was an artist, herself, because her craft is an art, and the way she would walk, she was humble. She walked in grace. I mean, she had tons of wisdom. She left us with so much more. She was an inspiration to a lot of young women, all races across the board, because she touched so many lives. And so she is definitely, a person that I would have, want to meet. And also with Chadwick, he was the first superhero that my kids saw on the big screen that looked just like them. And that is still huge. It's a big inspiration,
Mhm.
and not just that, but his story as far as, humble beginnings, but also, his walk into this, art form, his industry, and how it came about. He always knew also, where his
Mhm.
gift came from.
Mhm.
Even, when it came out that, he had colon cancer and the whole nine, the fact that he was able to continue and push through and did some of the best work seen on the big screen
Mhm.
when he knew his time was ticking. I mean, he knew he did not have much time, but yet he gave this world the greatest gifts, you know,
Yes.
and seeing somebody that resilient, you know, and it looks like me
Uh-huh.
was a lot, because we are definitely resilient. Black is resilient. We
Yes.
definitely are. At the end of the day, it is what it is. From
Mhm.
the very beginning, we've always been that way, and he exemplified that to the T,
Mhm.
with such, you know, beauty and finesse, and just a good person, over. And I didn't even know him personally, but I know when they both passed away, you would have thought I lost my mom and like my brother. Like
Oh.
that.
Uh-huh.
That's how it felt like, because I was like, oh my gosh, wait a minute,
Yeah.
that's what it felt like. And I didn't even know them from anything except for TV.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
to me, these would be two souls that I would have loved to have met.
Those are two wonderful, wonderful people to pick. Very impactful. So as we wrap up, I just want you to share how we can follow you, how people can follow you after this event. We'll certainly make ways that there's visuals so no one forgets, which I don't think they will after this conversation. But just share with us how we can find you on social media or any other way.
Yeah, so on Instagram and Facebook, you can find me. It's the same handle for both, but it's Phoenix, like the bird Phoenix, Noir for Black, so Noir Designs. So Phoenix Noir Designs is where you can find me, because I love the story behind the Phoenix. Resilient. How many lives you just always start over, but bigger and better each time. So I love it. And also, you could also find me under Lou Mitchell, so Lu Mitchell on Facebook. That's my other page. And I talk about not just art, but medical stuff, medical issues, whether it's fibromyalgia, back pain, neck pain, the whole nine too. So they can find me there for that also.
Okay, awesome. And then what if people are interested in buying any of your art? How does one go about that?
Yep. So I post the pictures on my Facebook and Instagram before I get them on the website to my followers first. And so the followers get first dibs on any painting. So a lot of times somebody will say, hey, I saw this painting on Facebook, but I went to the website and I don't see it there. A lot of times, 9 out of 10 times, they don't make it to the website because somebody sees them on Facebook and they buy them, and it's bought and it's sold out already. And so I would like to give my followers, first access to my artwork, and then the rest of the world can get it too.
Got it. Well,
On the
I'm glad
website.
I'm a follower. Everybody else follow. If you want first dibs, it might not make it to the website, but that's awesome to know. So thank you for sharing that. These are beautiful pieces. You are a beautiful person, beautiful physician, all of those things. You are everything. You are Blackness, all of that. And it's been a pleasure talking to you, learning more about you, and just, I mean, these paintings, I actually maybe could do some of my walls, my drab walls, but
yeah, I'm gonna have to send you something, girl. I gotta send you something.
Man, what's that?
So I have to send you something because we gotta get some stuff on your wall.
Yeah. I will be on that following page and trying to see what's there and available. I will gladly purchase some, because these walls aren't what's up. So, and definitely would not be. I'm glad that the people in the rehab hospital, other offices, and everything have that honor, privilege to see your work, and then even probably see you in person as her physician. So it's been a pleasure, Dr. Mitchell. Thank you for joining us today. Everyone, Dr. Lucie E. Mitchell on the Black Stage. Please follow her. Please support her. Physician, artist, mom, wife, beautiful person, child of God. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thank you.